Hey guys, Michaela here. We have made it to El Salvador. Yay! Took about, I don't know, it's like 2:30. We left around 8. So about 4 hours drive time and then only an hour at the border. I found another fixer. Fortunately, first let me show you this spot. Isn't it pretty? We got this gorgeous mimosa tree. I think that's a mimosa tree. They drop these giant pods, which is kind of cool. Mimosa is my favorite tree. I had the only one I've ever seen, the only chocolate mimosa I've ever seen was one that I had. I found it at Lowe's and planted in my first house that I owned, but I've never seen one of those since. But it drops these really cool pods. They sound a little bit like rocks when they hit there's a bird up there, when they hit the ceiling, but fairly quiet. A couple noises, big truck over here, but not anything compared to construction noises and things like that. The animals are sniffing around, getting to know the place, eating some grass. And no, that doesn't mean that they're sick. I know everybody thinks that. It's not true. They can learn the behavior, which they did learn from my little dog who has since passed. But anyway, they're probably also a little hungry. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's cooler here than in Mexico. The humidity seems to be a little less, but the temperature's also less. And then we have cloud cover, which was a rarity in Puerto. And yeah, I'm already in my PJs. I'm ready to rest. The drive was very smooth. I had 2 hours to the border from where I was staying in Guatemala, and then that was wide open, which was great. Very potholy. It was very rough roads. And then the roads in El Salvador were very smooth. So that was the biggest reason that I decided to come through El Salvador, was that they said the roads would be better than if I were to try to go around, because I wasn't thrilled to try to cross another border, but I'm glad I did. They also said to not miss El Salvador. It's gorgeous. And they were right. So I'm very close to the coast. I'm probably going to venture out. I'm here for several days. So I got to work for several of those days, and then I'm going to venture out and maybe try to go to the beach. I was traveling along the beach here, so it was nice to see the beach again since not being near it for a couple days. Kind of addicted. And yeah, so got to the El Salvador border, and I had read, and there's an app called iOverlander that is recommended for anybody doing what I'm doing, or something similar, where they have all this information, all this data on check-ins and where you can stay, where you can, vets, where you can get your car fixed, where you can do laundry, where you can camp. But each one has up to, as very current information. So I read about the border crossing in El Salvador before I left, and it said to bypass the long line of trucks that's there, which I'm glad I did, or I'm glad I read that, because otherwise I would have been waiting behind this huge line of semis. But I saw one car do it, and I'm like, okay, I guess this is what they were talking about. So I did it, and then a guy on a bicycle started to wave me through, and that was my new fixer. His name was Jose. Really nice guy. And he showed me where to park, where there was no parking. So grateful for that. And then, I don't speak only poquito Spanish, poquito Espanol. So lifesaver. I gave him 25 of the currency they use in Guatemala, just for showing me where to park. But he got me through everything on both the Guatemala side. So that includes an exit stamp on your passport, then you got to turn in your TIP for your car, and then I had to get exit stamps for my pets. And so he took me through all of that, and then he took me over. I drove, and he rode his bicycle over to the El Salvador side and got my entry stamp, got my new TIP, and new new stamps for the dogs. And it all took about an hour. So he wasn't going to charge me more, but I gave him more. because that was, I don't know, I was happy to. And the roads in El Salvador have been great. I didn't run into a whole lot of traffic. I did get stuck behind a few trucks, and then there was some traffic. There was some stop, like, I was in about 20 minutes of traffic, maybe I think twice. But I still got here right when it was, like 20 minutes after check-in time. So worked out beautifully. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have some privacy. It's been a while since I've had privacy, solitude, and it's very peaceful. You can see it's very cool. There's 2 cabins here. Of course, I'll only use one. I chose the one with the TV because, yes, I'm an addict and I've only been watching it on my little computer for months, and it's nice to have a big one. The AC in here works great, so yeah, I have a nice pool over here. The pool is nice and cool, and I need to go find some groceries and probably some cervezas. I'm definitely in the mood for some beers. When I say that, that means like 2, maybe. I'm a lightweight, but I also, I get stuffy and all these things that come with it. But I could use a beer. An ice cold beer would be great. So I'm here for several nights so I can work and then hit the road again. I have one more night in El Salvador, closer to the border, and then cross into Honduras for a night, and then on to Nicaragua for my next long stop, and then Costa Rica. My nervous system is grateful to have those 2 border crossings done. I know I'm not complete, but it makes me feel better that I do have everything that I need, and that it's not going to be an issue getting through. And just to have several days off from the drive and the ramping up to the border crossings. So I'm grateful to be here. It's been quite a journey already. It's kind of surreal. It's interesting to go through these towns and see how people live, and I'll see people walking on the highway that I'm on, and I'm wondering where the hell they came from or where they're going, because it must be miles, but it's just their way of life. There's women with the big things on their heads, and I saw that a lot in Mexico too, but here it's like I'll see big jugs, and they've got to be heavy, and just to hoist it up there in the first place, and they're just walking with it like it's nothing. Or they're on these bikes like I talked about yesterday, the scooters and the little motorcycles with all their kids, and I've seen babies sleeping in their mother's arms while they're on these bikes. But it's just, like I said, so funny. You see these little legs kind of squirting out the side, with nowhere to go. And it's like, oh, they got 2 kids and the 2 adults on these bikes. But still, lots of smiles. I don't know. I'm grateful to be here, and I'll check in again soon. Bye.